Hello guys, this is Sreha Agarwal from the Department of Commerce, Selection College, Sonada. I teach corporate law, that is why the topic I have taken for today's class would be company and its feature. So what is a company? We use this word quite it is a very common word, but let us see whether we know the meaning of it or not. So let us first see what a company is actually. So let us first see the definition given by Companies Act 2013 on its behalf. So what it says that Section 2, subsection 20 of the Companies Act 2013 defines a company as a company incorporated under this act or any other previous company law. So which means that any company which has been registered under the Companies Act 2013 or any other previous company law, which means that the Companies Act 1956. So if a company has been registered under either Companies Act 2013 or Companies Act 1956, then it will be considered as a company. Yes, obviously it is a very simple definition given by the Companies Act. So in order to have a more clear understanding of the word, let us see the definition given by Lord Justice Lindley. What he said that by a company is meant an association of many persons who contribute money or money's worth to a common stock and employ it in some trade or business, and who share the profit and loss arising therefrom. The common stock so contributed is denoted in money and is the capital of the company. The persons who contribute it or to whom it belongs are members. The proportion of capital to which each member is entitled is his share. Shares are always transferable, although the right to transfer them is often more or less restricted, which means that a company, it is an association of persons. So who are these persons? These persons are the ones who are contributing their small savings to a common stock, okay, for some common purpose, and in the form of money, okay, and employ it in some common trade or business, and who share the profit. After you employ your money in some trade, obviously some profit or loss will be arising from there. So this profit or loss will be distributed among these persons according to their share, okay. The common stock so contributed is denoted in money. So the after this contribution of many persons will be denoted in terms of money and will be the capital of the company. Capital of the company means this fund will be utilized by the company for its functioning. The persons who contribute it are termed as the shareholders, and they are the members of the company. The proportion of capital to which each member is entitled is his share. For example, if the total capital of the company is 1 lakh and I have contributed 10,000 shares, I have contributed rupees 10,000, means I am the holder of 10% shares of the company. Shares are always transferable, although the right to transfer the shares are more or less restricted. So it depends upon the type of company. If it is a private company, then obviously there are a lot of restrictions. But if it is a public limited company, yes, you are free to transfer your shares. Okay, now we move on to the features of the company. So the first feature of a company is incorporated association, which means that a company must necessarily be registered under the Companies Act. So this registration is compulsory. Without registration, you can't term your association as a company. So in order to be called it as a company, it needs to be registered under the Companies Act. And the next feature is artificial legal person. So a company is an artificial legal person in the sense that on the one hand it is created by the process other than natural birth and does not possess the physical attributes of a natural person, and on the other hand it is clothed with many of the rights of a natural person. So since it doesn't possess a natural birth, That is why it is called as artificial. But since it enjoys many rights as a natural person, it is termed as a legal person. So artificial legal person, it is an artificial person created by law and enjoys many of the rights as natural person. Okay. The third feature of a company is separate legal entity. It is a very important feature which is enjoyed by a company. Separate legal entity means the members of the company are separate from that of the company. The company can own a property in its own name. The directors have no right to claim the property. They have no right to claim the ownership of the assets of the company. Neither they are responsible for the liabilities of the company. It is solely the responsibility of the company. The company can sue and can be sued on its own name. So it is very much different from that of its member. So that was the third feature, that was the separate legal entity. Now we move on to the fourth feature of company, which is perpetual succession. So it says that whether anything might, a company is a stable form of business organization. Its life does not depend upon the death, insolvency, or retirement of any or all of its shareholders or directors. Even if all of its directors die or retire, but nothing happens to the shareholders, nothing happens to the existence of the company, it will go on continue. So like one example can be given if in a war or all of its shareholders die, but even then nothing will happen to the existence of the company. It will remain, it will continue to function. So that is a right which is enjoyed by a company, that is of perpetual succession. It is like a flowing river where the water keeps on changing continuously, still the identity of the river remains the same. So the directors will come and go, the shareholders will come and go, but nothing happens to the existence of the company. The next feature of a company is limited liability. Limited liability means the liability of the shareholders remain limited. If it is a company limited by shares, then the liability of the shareholders will remain restricted only to the unpaid value of the shares held by them. And if it is a company limited by guarantee, the shareholders are only liable to pay the unpaid amount of guarantee that they have promised to pay at the time of winding up of the company. And yes, there is one more type of company, which is unlimited company, where the liabilities of the members are unlimited, but the feature is limited liability. So most of the company, they function with this feature of limited liability. And the next feature is transferability of shares. The shares of a public limited company are freely transferable, and members can dispose of their shares whenever they like without seeking any permission from the company or the other members. So they are free to transfer their shares. But if the company is a public company, in case of a private company, however, some restrictions are there on the right to transfer shares. So I think we'll be doing only this much for today. That is, we have discussed what is company and the features of company. So I think we'll be closing up for today. The book which I referred is MC Kuchel's book, which is one of the recommendations of NBO. Thank you.